Work in a cubicle from 9 to 5 during the best years of your life with only 14 days of vacation a year. And then when you're 67, you can retire and finally start living life. Maybe even play golf every day. Okay, that sounds like a terrible idea. Sometimes you have to question societal norms that we just take for granted, and that's what this video is all about. We all want to have more freedom and more flexibility in our lives now, not 40 years down the road. So as a result, I think the idea of traditional retirement, where you work for several decades to save and you enjoy all your money at the end, this whole notion is becoming less and less relevant these days. In fact, according to census data, 66% of millennials have nothing saved for retirement. And you know what? I don't blame them. Even if you have plenty of money left to save as a millennial after you make all those student loan payments and all that, I don't think anyone gets excited by the word retirement. I know I preach all day about IRAs and investing on my channel, but even I'm not excited about retirement. I don't want to wait till I'm 67. I don't want to play golf all day, and I want to travel and pursue my passions now, not later. Enter the FIRE movement. FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early, is a growing movement of people who are going against the norms to aggressively save money and retire decades earlier than most other people. When I first started reading about FIRE, it really resonated because deep down, I always knew I wanted to achieve financial independence well before the age of 67, but I didn't really know that this was a thing and that other people were doing it. So the idea of FIRE was very exciting to me. However, for the last 6 years, all I could think about was just paying off my student loans. I wasn't even thinking about retirement, let alone early retirement. Now, I'm happy to say I literally just finished paying off the last of my student loans earlier this year. So now that I'm finally debt-free, I have been thinking a lot about what big financial goals I want to pursue next. Retiring early is one of them. So in this video, I want to explain step by step how to run the numbers for retiring early. I want to talk about some hacks to get there faster, and of course, share with you my plan to retire in my 30s. So let's get started. Running the numbers for early retirement is a 3-step process. Step 1 is to define your number. What is the amount of money you need to have invested such that you can live off your investments for the rest of your life without running out of money? Then step 2 is to decide how many years are you going to give yourself to hit that number. Since this is about retiring early, it's probably going to be a short timeline, like you're giving yourself 10 years or maybe even 5 years. Then step 3 is to reverse engineer how much you need to contribute every month in order to hit your number within that time frame. Let's walk through an actual example of how to do this. Since financial independence means that you have enough money invested to cover your annual living expenses, in other words, the income from the investments, whether it comes from dividend income or capital gains income, all that is enough to cover your annual expenses. So in order to define your big number, it all starts with first knowing what your living expenses are. That's where it all starts. Once you know what you need to live on every year, say $40,000, you can then apply what's called the 4% rule. The 4% rule says that if you have a nest egg, a retirement nest egg of X amount, the safe amount to withdraw it from it every year is 4%. If you withdraw more than 4% every year, say 5 or 7%, then there is a chance that your nest egg will run out of money during your retirement. If you withdraw less than that, like 3%, then your money is pretty much guaranteed to last forever, and you'll even be able to pass it on to your children. The 4% safe withdrawal rate is based on an extensive study called the Trinity Study. This was done by professors at Trinity University in 1995. And in this study, they did a bunch of really fancy advanced financial modeling on historical stock and bond market returns since 1926. And they did this to figure out what is the optimal withdrawal rate in retirement. What's that rate such that the growth of the stock market and your portfolio is going to be enough to sustain the withdrawals in such a way that you don't have too much money left, but you don't have any, like zero money left. And that optimal rate they found was 4%. To be more specific, the studies discovered that on a portfolio of 50% stocks and 50% bonds, withdrawing only 4% a year, while also adjusting that amount for inflation each year, this would give you a 95% chance of your money lasting at least 30 years. And it would also give you a 100% chance of your money lasting at least 25 years. To say it another way, if you want your nest egg to be guaranteed to last at least 25 years, plan on only withdrawing 4% from it every year in retirement. So if your living expenses are, say, $40,000 a year, then according to the 4% rule, you would need $1 million in order to retire. Why? Because if you withdraw 4% on a $1 million nest egg every year, that would give you a $40,000 a year annual retirement income. Also, if you're not good with calculating percentages or it's not very intuitive to you, a quick hack is to just multiply your annual living expenses by 25. That will also give you 1 million, and that's just another way to calculate what your number needs to be. The 4% rule is super simple but very powerful, and a lot of successful FIRE people follow it. However, it does come with one caveat. It assumes a 30-year retirement. However, if you retire early, your retirement is gonna last more like 40, 50, or even 60 years. So if you really wanna be bulletproof and certain, go for a 3% withdrawal rate. As for me, a 4% withdrawal rate is already conservative according to the study, so I'm cool with 4%. But if you really want to be sure, you can also consider adjusting that down. Now, assuming you're going with a 4% withdrawal rate, $1 million is your number based on $40,000 a year in living expenses. So the next step is to decide how many years you're giving yourself to hit that number. Let's say you're giving yourself 10 years, which is obviously extremely aggressive. Now, this will be a function of how soon you want to retire, but also what is actually achievable and realistic for you. Then on to step 3. And of course, you may have to go back to step 2 and just kind of fine tune. Both of them are a moving target. But step 3 is to figure out how much you need to invest every month, every year, in order to get to your big number in the time frame that you've given yourself. So in this example, how much do you need to invest every month in order to reach $1 million in 10 years? There's a lot of good online calculators for this, such as the one on bankrate.com. So I put the link below if you want to try it out for yourself. But first, to use it, you first punch in your number, $1 million, then 10 years. Let's say you have nothing invested yet, you're starting off with 0. Then I would put 7% in the rate of return, which has been the average after-tax total return of the S&P 500 over the last 90 years or so. Then let's say you contribute, say, $5,000 a month. Well, according to this calculator, in 10 years, you'll have $855,000, which is a little bit short of your $1 million goal. So then you have to go back to step 2 or adjust the monthly contributions and play around with this calculator until you come up with something that you can actually follow. So let's say you increase your monthly contributions to $6,000 a month. That would get you to your goal, a little over $1 million in 10 years. Okay, so $6,000 a month is a lot. Obviously, the only way to put away that much money every month is to first have a very high income and then also to be very frugal. You kind of have to do both. There's no way around it. If you want to have a high savings rate, you need to be frugal and make a lot of income. Yeah, if early retirement were easy, everyone would be doing it. However, here are some hacks to make it more doable for you. One way to retire early faster is by doing something called geo-arbitrage. Geo-arbitrage is a concept popularized by Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. And it's where you relocate to another city or country with a lower cost of living while maintaining the same income. So you're arbitraging the geography where you make a high income in the higher cost of living country, but your expenses are in a lower cost of living country. For example, if you retire in a foreign country where the dollar stretches a lot farther, instead of needing $40,000 a year to retire, you might only need $20,000 a year. So places like Vietnam, Colombia, Bali, the currency there is a lot weaker, so you actually could live quite comfortably on $20,000 a year. And there's a lot of large expat retiree communities doing just that. I first experienced the power of geo-arbitrage when I went on a backpacking trip around the world at 18 years old. I was traveling with savings from waiting tables in high school, so it's not like I was flush with cash during this trip. However, in Kenya, I could rent a sweet house right on the beach for $30 a night, and I could do things like have fresh ceviche every day in Peru for just like $1.50 a bowl. So geo-arbitrage is really, really powerful. If all you need is $20,000 a year to live on, while not compromising on your quality of life, then your number goes down by half. Instead of needing $1 million to retire, all you need is $500,000. Which means instead of having to save $6,000 a month, you can just save $3,000 a month, and then you can still retire in 10 years. Or you can contribute more every month and retire in a shorter amount of time. So the possibilities are really endless. Geo arbitrage means you can just not make a lot of money, but you can also still live well. No compromises. Also, you don't have to straight up move to another country, because if you're able to work remotely, you could even just live abroad somewhere cheaper, or even just live somewhere in the same country but to a cheaper city, and that way you can save up a bunch of money to help you reach FIRE faster. In addition to geo arbitrage, something else you can do to speed up early retirement is to go for a part-time retirement. This is also known as barista FIRE, where you work part-time to supplement the income from your investments. You could work a couple days a week as a Starbucks barista, which is kind of the original concept, and that's where the term came from. But you can also just make money in retirement doing something else, like side gigs or consulting work. And this way you can possibly get health insurance through your job and of course have extra money coming in. Believe it or not, there are a lot of companies that provide health insurance to part-time employees. So Starbucks is one of them, but so is Verizon, Whole Foods, UPS, and Costco. And there's a lot more. So if all you need is $20,000 from your investments in retirement, and the remaining $20,000 that you need you can earn from a part-time job, then early retirement suddenly becomes a lot more doable. Sure, I know this isn't like a real retirement since you'd actually still be working, but then again, I don't think anyone actually wants to just sit around and do nothing when they're retired, right? Working part-time in retirement could be nice because it creates structure in your life, it gives you a reason to be out with other people, all while making some money. Another hack for speeding it up is by earning more. Now, I know this isn't really a hack, it's just obvious, but if you want to reach early retirement faster, you have to think of ways to increase your income by a lot. And I really like focusing on this. Of course, saving money and being as frugal as possible is really important as well. And if you can make some drastic lifestyle changes, like moving to a smaller home or giving up your car, or even like living out of a van or a tiny home, you can do all those things, but still, there's always a rock bottom to how low your expenses can go. No matter how frugal you are, we all need a roof over our head and put some food on the table. So I like focusing on ways to increase your income because there's actually no ceiling on how high your income can go. A lot of the FIRE bloggers and YouTubers that I stalk on Instagram, on YouTube, and that have retired early successfully, when I look at their stories, I see that they all made pretty high incomes from their primary job and or from their side hustles, and that is how they retired early. A lot of them either made high salaries from their jobs and or they did Airbnb, they had an online business, they had a blog, a YouTube channel, something else that brought in money. So if your main job isn't gonna get you there, and if it is, you're very lucky, but if not, consider starting a side gig. I have a lot more videos about ideas for side gigs coming up, so stay tuned for those. But for now, here are some rapid fire ideas to get you started. And you'll see that the possibilities are endless. You can fix things on TaskRabbit. You can make deliveries for Uber Eats, Postmates, or Instacart. You can charge scooters for Bird or Lime. You can trade options. You can cook meals for people on MyTable. You can babysit or take care of seniors on care.com. You can resell clothing on Poshmark. You can take care of pets on Rover if you like animals. You can provide bookkeeping services to a local business. You can do graphic design or some other online work on Fiverr. You can do consulting on Upwork. You can start a blog. You can sell things on Amazon. You can start a YouTube channel. You could work weekends doing catering events for a catering company. You can start an Airbnb. You can clean houses on Handy. I could go on and on. Bottom line is, no excuses. These are all things that either I have made money in or I personally know people who are making money on the side doing these things. You have skills that you can monetize, so dig deep and find a way to increase your income. If retiring early for you means you need to save $6,000 a month, instead of feeling discouraged because that's a lot of money and you have no idea how you can afford that, start asking yourself, how can I afford that? Ask yourself productive questions so you can get productive answers. All right, and now for my plan to retire early. Drum roll, please. So my goal, my crazy goal, is to get to $1 million within 6 years. Wow, it feels really crazy to say that out loud, but I want you to hold me accountable. Using the 4% rule, $1 million would mean for me $40,000 a year in retirement. I would, of course, supplement that income with part-time work because $40,000 a year is pretty bare bones, mostly because I would just go crazy sitting around doing nothing. I really do enjoy working, being productive, using my skills, providing value to society. So that's why I'm going for a part-time retirement. So right now, in addition to YouTube, I have some online courses, I do consulting and options trading. So if all goes as planned, I should be able to put away the $10,000-ish a month that I need to save in order to retire in 6 years, especially since I don't have to pay student loans anymore. Those were so annoying. Anyway, we'll see. You guys can hold me to it. So after crunching the numbers and doing a lot of thinking, this idea of a hybrid retirement is really starting to make me very excited. And I really think this is gonna be the new way. People don't want to retire per se. They just wanna buy their time back and have some breathing room in their lives and spend their days in a way that they enjoy. And with a hybrid retirement or barista fire, you can all get there much sooner than you think. Even though this whole video was about money and retiring early, we all know it's not actually about money. It's about buying back your time so that you can do all the things you want to do with your life. I would love to learn French, build my own Burning Man art car, live by the beach, go back to school and learn classic piano, and get like 10 French bulldogs so that I can play with them all day. So just daydreaming for now, but daydreaming is a lot of fun. How about you guys? What are the top 3 things you would do in early retirement? And to make it more concrete, what is your magic number? What's the amount you need to retire early? Share with me in the comments below and let's work on it together. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I post new videos every Wednesday, so be sure to hit subscribe and join the family for more videos about making money, saving money, and investing money. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye.